think people would be shocked, impressed, and scared at how quickly Gary can pivot and change his mind on things.
I think he's also really good with like making you feel good about failing. I think a lot of people don't make impact in life or like don't do great things because they're scared of failure.
Yeah. I watched this video from Gary. I'm like, I want to work for this dude. 2 days later, he tweets, what can I do for you today? And I see this, I'm like, now's my chance. I just respond to him, a chance to work for free. Like right after I hit reply, he responds right away. And like, I started having a panic attack. I sent the tweet, I sent the email, had a 5-minute convo. Gary had his intuition check off email and tweet. Nate had his intuition check off of a 5-minute convo. And there I was. But then he looks at Nate and he's like, Nate, give Andy access to my inbox. I want to make sure that he can see what's going on in there. And I like my jaw dropped to the floor because I'm like, literally, I'm like a kid off the street. Like they don't know. I'm like, I could be a psycho. I could be like, you don't have any idea. People call VaynerMedia cold and all these things, which I think is sort of true. And I think it's a good thing. So much hard work and there's a lot that comes with it. But like, honestly, just the lack of bullshit. That's why I tweeted him in 2013 to ask to work for free. This is Andy Kranak, and this is episode 5 of the White Space podcast.
This is probably the most iconic episode I'm going to film on White Space.
I'll take that.
For the last 10 years, I've probably waited for this day where I can sit in a room and talk to you about our life and our journeys here. The person that is on this podcast is the person that I admire to death. He's one of the most hardworking and smartest people that I've ever worked with. And I think I've said this to him and to a lot of people around him. I believe he has the best intent in life. He is a very kind and soft person inside, but he's a winner and he knows how to balance those two things. To me, he has been foundational in most of the things that I've learned on this team. And he is the person that I believe is foundational to what Team Gary is and how today, 10 years later, we sit here talking about Gary's brand. I think all of this would not be possible without Andy being the backbone of Team GaryVee for so many years and Gary's brand all these years, even after Team Gary and now V Friends. And I just want to say I admire you, and I really think that you are definitely the smartest person that I've ever worked with, and I wish that we keep working together for the rest of our lives.
Man, Sid, thank you. That is probably the most generous and kind intro I'll ever get in my life. And it means a lot to me.
Because I know you well, you know? It's like, it's from the heart. This wasn't prepped. This is what I talked to my wife about a lot about, Jannat. It was actually, on that note, we're doing this in Gary's office. Gary graciously gave us the room to do this podcast. It was Jannat's idea for us to do it over here. I think...
Behind every smart man.
I think she knows, she's the person that's closest to me. Like she understands me to the depths of everything. She knows how much I admire you and how much all of this is not rehearsed. There are no notes for what I said. I didn't think about it before I said this because I genuinely...
It's pretty strong off the cuff, honestly.
It's just genuinely what I feel and it's real.
Thank you, man. I'm going to piggyback off of you real quick because you said a word and topic that I was reflecting on knowing I was going to do this podcast with you, and something that I've learned from you that I think we've both learned from Gary, but you definitely carried a better understanding and knowledge of it than I, specifically in leadership and management of people, which is intent. And Sid and I, over the years, talked a lot about performance, results, how we're operating, who's contributing, who needs to be contributing more. And oftentimes I might have a perspective on an individual teammate or collaborator, and Sid would help me peel back the onion a little bit and analyze the intent of people. And I was actually in a meeting this week basically giving my best version of Sid, speaking about evaluating your coworkers' intent even more so than the outcome of their results. Because if the intent is pure and right and accurate and true, there's so much there that you can work with, versus even if the results are good but the intent is bad, you have a lot of headaches coming your way. And I learned that from Gary, but also really, really with you because of all the years of work we had. So thank you for that.
Thank you for saying that. I didn't know that.
100%. Do you remember like us having combos?
Yeah. I mean, we've had so many conversations. I think this reminds me of how close we were, like always working on things through the years. I mean, VeeFriends got you busy, but you know,
we have such a camaraderie, you and I, and anyone that's ever worked on Team Gary, because we have a similar mindset. How many people, individual people, from your start to today, do you think have been a part of Team Gary? You've worked
I think I was doing the math that day, and I'm not confident of this number, but it's over 200 for sure.
Over 200?
And I worked with the first person to the last person. We just hired everyone from the start.
When you think about the international staff and everyone else, that makes sense.
Yeah, that might even cross 300 when you think about freelancers.
It's incredible.
Stuff like,
so fun. A lot of different intents.
Yeah.
How you harness that to make it one intent.
And I think that's where like Gary's really good with it. It's like, because there's just one intent, is to be human and kind. You know, it's like winning's important, but it's more important to build a great team.
Yeah, and you and him both have a similar skill set, although his is world class at really understanding people's intents very quickly. You know?
I'm usually humble with these things, but I think I've said it enough to people around me that I do feel that I have a really good knack for that.
You definitely do. More so than I, and that's why I was thinking about it. Like, 'cause not only for your capacity to understand people's intent, but what it means within a business context and team dynamics. Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
You're welcome.
We're just going to do flower. This is like episode 1 of Flower Shop from GaryVee.
These fucking guys.
Cool. So the first question I usually ask on the podcast is, who were you as a kid? And why do you think that's shaped who are you today? And one of the questions, the follow-up that Babin asked me when we did our episode was like, what's a kid? And to me, it's first memory.
Yeah. Who was I as a kid? I was a younger brother, and I was just happy. You know, I had such a loving mom and family around me, and I was curious and happy and passionate about life. And I think that's carried on forever.
So curiosity?
Curiosity, for sure. I always loved art and stories, for sure. Anything that had a ball, I wanted to go bounce it or kick it or try to put it in the net, for sure. Competitive nature. Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun to see you roll, because like I know how competitive you are, but like you're competitive and you win most of the times in things that you can control.
Yeah.
But you're also really good at accepting not winning, like pivoting immediately, like moving on. Yeah. Next thing, you're good at winning, but like when you don't, because of multiple, sometimes you just suck, and that's fine. But like circumstances you can't control, just moving to the next thing.
I agree with that. I think a lot of people that are fierce competitors show it on their sleeve in a real way. Yeah. And I think some people can be caught off guard in my demeanor that I am that competitive. But anyone who's played basketball with me, if I'm down and losing, they will see my competitive nature in full force, for sure.
Or ads.
Or Facebook ads.
Who do you think formed your curiosity in life? Like, why do you think you're curious? Because I think that, to me, personally, is your biggest strength. Like, just being curious about everything. Like, we're going to get to 2021 sometime soon, and we'll talk about that world as well. But, like, I know that the thing that bonded us the most was our curiosity on just, like, breaking shit. like
Yeah.
always figuring out the white space.
Yeah. It's so needed even today. Technology and the opportunities at hand are changing every second. I think it's both like nature nurture. I think at a certain level, you and I were just born curious. And with curiosity comes a willingness to not be afraid and to adapt and change new things. But also, I think through being exposed to a lot of different things helps you be curious. Both my brothers are so different, and being the youngest of the family, like seeing their differences made me curious in their different passions. And then similar to Gary talks about how much his mother built his self-esteem. Like he opens the door for someone and his mom says like, that's the best I've ever seen you open the door for anybody. My mother did that similarly for me, like really made me believe that I might be president or the next great Pele of soccer or anything, you know, and just building the confidence to be curious.
President, you are V friends
Yeah.
soon. Whatever is next.
Yeah.
So let's talk about experiences. What was life like outside of the U.S. when you traveled to was it China, Thailand? Where else was it?
My first exposure to living abroad and being in international communities was studying abroad in Switzerland. At Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech owns a villa in southern Switzerland in Riva San Vitale. It is arguably one of the most beautiful places in the world. And I lived there for 5 months. It just opened my eyes so much to how much opportunity and potential there is for anyone in their life, and that it can change in any given moment. You know, one day, everyone else in the program had been studying Italian for 5 months before. Like I went in the spring semester, so fall semester, they all knew each other. And then a month before the program was about to start, they sent an email out to the rest of the political science liberal arts program, like, hey, there's 3 spots open. People dropped out. You can apply to still go. And without talking to anybody and my mom, I just applied, and then I got accepted. And I was like, Mom, I want to go live in Switzerland next semester. And she was worried and scared, like, what are you doing? And I actually cried on the way to the airport going there, which now seems so silly and frivolous, but I was just so scared. Like I was going to go live with 30 other people I didn't know in Europe and Switzerland, and they were all taking Italian. I didn't know Italian. And then within like 3 weeks, I was speaking more Italian than the rest of the class just because I was curious. And I wasn't afraid to like go talk to the old grandpa sitting out at the park and just like see what would happen. And he would start teaching me the months. And then I would come back out and I'd be like, Januaro, Marzo, and they loved me for it. And it was just really cool. And it taught me so much about living abroad and opportunities and global culture. And that set me up for 2010. After I graduated college, I was trying to find work, and my best friend growing up was going to teach English in Thailand. And I said, you know what? I had the best time of my life in Switzerland, and I learned so much about myself too. I'm going to go sign up for 6 months to teach English in rural Thailand. And then after 2 months, I knew it was in my best interest to be there for a full year so I could really learn the culture and be the best English teacher that I could be. So I stayed there for a year. And then I coached basketball in China. So those were like my study travel.
So you went from Thailand to China for like...
I went from Thailand back home, government contracting job for like 2 months.
What was that?
It's funny. It's a government contracting agency. They would get a bunch of they would win a bunch of contracts, Department of Defense, just like all kinds of stuff, auditing the stamp program. But the owner actually could see my entrepreneurial spirit and innovation and curiosity. He had a commercial rental property business that he was going, but it didn't have a website or social media, and he was trying to get more bookings. So my side project was to stand up, I can't remember the name of the business, but to stand up like marketing for that company, which was funny because everyone else at the government contracting agency sort of were like, why is Andy working on this silly thing? Like, we got all this work to do over here. But I hated it, and I left, and then I found Gary.
So how did VaynerMedia happen?
Well, to tie it all back together, at Virginia Tech, my senior year after coming back from Switzerland, I took a wine course called.
Why?
The professor, shout out John Boyer. I think his last year was 2025. He's retiring, but he's probably the most prolific and memorable and iconic one of besides Nicky Giovanni professors in Virginia Tech. He taught a geography class mostly to freshmen, and he taught through comics. Actually, he called himself the Plaid Avenger. Really, really cool guy. Cusses. Like if Gary was a college professor, that's who John Boyer is.
I love that.
And not only did he teach geography, he taught wine course. So I did the geography course, and then when it was time for the wine course, I signed up. Part of the curriculum was to actually watch Gary's Wine Library TV videos. At the time, Gary was operating Wine Library full time. VaynerMedia didn't even exist yet. This is 2009, 2010. And through that, I learned of Gary. I wasn't super into wine. I didn't like the Jets, but I could tell he was a really relevant contemporary guy disrupting wine for sure. And I followed him on Twitter through that. Flash forward, in one of the biggest things that happened to me while I was teaching English in Thailand, I would travel all the time, and I started meeting all these digital nomads or digital entrepreneurs, people making money through Google AdSense and smart SEO and blog and copywriting. And I'm like, wait, you make how much a month? And I was doing, teaching is really, really hard work. I have so much just applause and flowers for anyone who decides to be a teacher. I think it's a really important job, and it's really, really hard. But I started learning more about, on my free time, I made my own WordPress blog, Flying with Fishes, talking about travels. And then that just continued on. After I came home, I wanted to create an English learning website who I actually partnered with for a little bit, who's Eric Zetterson, who's the CTO of VFriends right now. I asked him to help me build a website and an English learning app. And then halfway through that, I got offered to coach basketball in China. So
wait, you know Eric since then?
I've known Eric since elementary school.
What?
Yeah. Eric and I, we were never like sleep over at each other's houses and like hang out all the time, friends, but we were classmates and friends. Really nice guy, fun guy. And we had other friends who were really close. So when I was asking around like, hey, I have a really big idea for an English learning app, everyone was like, you got to hit up Zetterson. And Zetterson had made a name for himself at this web development firm. And he gave me really, really good advice, sound business advice. He's a very smart and logical guy, yeah. But then I did China.
He has one of the best voices as well.
He does. He's very, it can be really complicated and stressful at times trying to manage all the asks that Gary has. And Eric is always calm and collective, and I appreciate that about him.
So you were going through you made the app.
Made the app. My friend was offered a job to go coach basketball in China, and he's like, I'm definitely not going to China, but I feel like, Andy, you might want to go. And I said, yes, I do. I was always curious about China. You know, John Boyer in my classes, I remember him saying, like, want to double your salary, learn Chinese. And my whole college career, I'd been hearing about China is coming, you know, and it's so different. And I was curious. And I'm like, let me go find out. And it was very, very different. It was also very challenging. I lived in Beijing. It's a really hard and lonely time, honestly. Those like 5 months there. But I'm grateful that I went. I learned a lot.
What was what was the one thing you learned about yourself by like being away from like the safe space?
Yeah, I think that's probably the most important question. I learned, and I think everyone else learns, who you are. And when you learn who you are, I think you learn how capable you are. You know, and it's so, everyone, I was talking to someone, shout out Jeremy. Jeremy, I can't even, I just call him Jeremy Knows forever. Janelli.
I call him the same.
He just moved to Ohio, but I took him out to dinner before he left. and he kept on talking about naturally, and it's so fun to see his maturity after being around the team and Gary for 2 years now. He's really, really evolved in the best way. And he kept on just talking about insecurities of people and stuff. And I just kept on doubling. I'm like, that's right. That's what happens when like you start hanging around Gary more. You realize that so much of people's behavior or intent is actually grounded in insecurities. Bringing it back, studying abroad, like I think I had my own insecurities, and being in a place where you're stripped away from your language, your friends, your family, the easy and simple things, and you have to literally go figure out how you can go buy a toothbrush to brush your teeth, and then you go do it, and it's like the most rewarding thing. It's so fulfilling. And then you realize all of a sudden looking back, you're like, damn, I'm really capable. I lived out here. I speak the language. All the teachers love me. Like, and you think like, shit, if I can do that, what else can I do? And I would wish that on anybody.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I think traveling to new places and being in places that you've never been before, even if it's new environments, like forget about even leaving the country and moving, like be in spaces that you've never been before, it really makes you fearless. Like, I think it changes, I wouldn't say fearless, but like it's more like it just changes your perception of fear. It's a little different. Like you're not completely averse of fear, but you're less scared of it.
100%.
And it just like back to your point of like, it just makes you more comfortable with the uncertain.
Yeah.
And probably makes you better at dealing with chaos.
I'm trying to remember. There was a small book I read once, and he was basically talking about this and like comparing it to like your circle of comfort zone, and everything great is outside that comfort zone. And how do you develop the knack
probably
and
a
habit
Gary BSU as well.
Yeah.
We've made around that.
To be okay stepping outside of that circle. And in the book, he talked about like taking a cold shower, because like you get fearful of taking a cold shower, but you just hit that cold water and it goes away. And at that moment in time, I started really just taking cold showers every morning. And now it's something I do, and it's just like part of my life.
I think this is something that I don't think a lot of people around you know, is how intellectual you are. You like reading, you like watching documentaries.
Yes.
You're deep into culture. You
Yes.
like you are someone who likes to learn a lot, and that's not just like all of this storytelling and fun stuff, but it's also like you will nerd out on SEO shit in our early days, and like every John Loomer and Neil Patel newsletter, and like, you know, like it just, meanwhile when people see you rolling
John Loomer and Neil Patel, I haven't heard those two names in forever.
And when you're rolling just like as the president of VFriends, I don't think a lot of people see that side of you too much, because they see you as this extroverted leader that's like out there. But like, I think there's such a powerful foundation that's like intellectual to you that actually builds that side for you.
Thank you. I agree.
You know a lot about a lot of things that most people don't.
And honestly, I think I'm rooted in it's curiosity. Like a lot of people just aren't curious, but I'm so fascinated learning about Göbekli Tepe or ancient Egypt or all the other things that I'll tell about my friends. And like when I went to Portugal 2 years ago, I was reading a history book, and I just fell in love with the history of Portugal. It's so fascinating, the rise and fall of the Portuguese Empire, that they had colonies in India and Asia and exported basically like a third of the world's population of slaves in like a short period of time. And it was such a small place, but like it's just so fascinating, because I think our histories are all interconnected, and it's really fascinating to see where we've come from to better understand where we're going.
I think Gary's really good with that as well. Like he's so good with connecting the dots, just curious about history as well. Like I don't think I've met someone who knows more about history than Gary.
Yeah.
And I think he's really good with taking that and seeing how it's a cycle with what's happening right now. I think he's really, really gifted with that.
Extremely.
Yeah.
Because outside of like just knowing history, there's this whole other like social layer of human psychology. And he combines the two of like, oh, this is what was happening in that. And I would just read the history book. But on top of it, he's thinking about like the human psychology of those people, and then being able to apply that into any moment and context. Yeah.
I think he said something which is like the most recent thing that he said that's fascinated me is like how radio commentary made the commentators like really close to you because you couldn't see anything, so you depended on them telling you the story, so you became more related to them. Yeah. You know, and things like that, like how Gary would like articulate that, just like such a basic thing, but like all of us like, oh yeah, that's actually interesting and true. Similar to like when, if you remember, and this was never documented because it was you, me, and Gary in this room itself, and we were talking to him about autonomous cars and how he went to like how it's gonna change food delivery and not Uber. And I think just how his brain just works and like connects the dots and like learns from the past. And
it's so funny. You and I know I was vocal on this because he would always like poke, and I don't think he actually understood what I was trying to say. I used to say to him a lot through our content. You and I would strategize a lot about his brand positioning and things that he should be talking about more.
The smarts, GaryVee smarts.
Yeah, and I would say, Gary, I don't think we show and highlight how smart you are. Like, he's such a work ethic, work hard, show up, motivator, and that's like his brand. I'm like, but there's this whole other side in business meetings that I don't think is being captured. And I remember we were like talking a little bit about that in this exact moment in time. He's like, oh, I got an idea. I want you guys to feed me news headlines for me to react on top of and give my 2 cents.
Yep.
And this is just a brainstorm session. He's like, all right, Sid, like give me a news headline. And you read a news headline about Uber acquiring, like being competitive with McDonald's because they're acquiring self-driving cars. And then he proceeded for like 10 minutes to say the most like eloquent, intelligent, unbelievable analysis of that headline in a way that like very few people could. And of course, and he's like, I wouldn't post that. But like, let's do that again. We're like, what? Yeah.
At least now we have green screens, and that's really helped with some of that stuff. Yeah. That's how actually the Mark Zuckerberg and Gary podcast came about, because Gary reacted to the Meta renaming, and Garrett, shout out Garrett. Garrett's the best. He hit me up about the pod.
Nice.
And that's how it happened.
That's awesome. I honestly, that podcast, man, if it was another hour, so good.
Yeah.
It was a really, really good podcast. I wish it was another hour.
So let's talk about that. What do you think are Gary's top 5 pieces of content or podcasts or whatever? Like, do you think? Because I want to go back and forth. And maybe
I can't go content and podcast.
Let's do podcast only.
Yeah, I'll do thank you. I'm not. This isn't going to be in order, but to start, Joe Rogan podcast got to be on it.
Yep.
Arguably the biggest podcast in the world. I'm a fan of Rogan, and Gary. He had real clips in there. Like
what should people do? He
called the McGregor fight that they would actually fight. Yep. He called something about an Apple product, or Facebook was going to produce TV. He predicted like 2 or 3 things. Mm-hmm. And he was just on his game. He showed his like sports acumen. It was a great podcast. I think he should go back on it at some point in the future. Simon Sinek. No, sorry, not Simon Sinek. Tom Bilyeu.
Impact Theory.
Yeah, that was, I really, really remember that one because it was fun for me. And a lot of other really good Ask GaryVee guests or episodes had this where they really knew Gary. Tom at the time was a client of his. You know, Tom was a client of Vayner Talent, sorry. And so he had seen Gary operate as a business operator, like managing his services a little bit. And he just knows him as like a businessman, as Tom is. And it was so fun for them to talk about. They had conflicting views on entrepreneurship. Are you born an entrepreneur? Mm-hmm. Are you not? How you navigate entrepreneurship. And I would go back and watch that today. It was really, really interesting to see their different points of views.
Yeah, I think clips from it still hit every day.
Yeah. It's not that I just remember being in the room with Eric Thomas, and I'd always watched Eric Thomas, E.T. the hip hop preacher. It was fun to have him on, just two ultimate motivators talking shit about like being up in the morning at 8 a.m. and go get it, and like I'm ready to pick up trash right now. Like, if that's what it takes, I'm gonna do that. What other ones am I missing, Sid?
Larry King.
Larry King.
I think that was like the most iconic one at that time, and like Gary had some, like his whole version of like schools failing entrepreneurs every day.
I'm going
like,
just Larry King is so good.
It was. I think. Keep going.
No, now I'm thinking about keynotes.
Yeah.
One of my favorite keynotes ever is talk to USC MBA students.
Oh yeah.
Who are studying entrepreneurship.
The guru hoodie.
And his opening line is, I don't think you can teach entrepreneurship, so this is awkward. Like, I can just go home now. And everyone's like, what? Yeah.
I think Hot Ones was another one where I think Hot Ones was where, so I think Team Gary knew deep down Gary's mentality and like how he's like, how headstrong he is when he wants to like power through shit. But I think Hot Ones was the first time like the world saw it like in action.
Yeah.
Like where he was just like, one, obviously, I think that's the one where he also said one of my favorite quotes ever from Gary, which is winners win. You know, winners show up. Like he has a whole rant around it. And I think that was like, to me, the first time I think we could showcase how
there's one more podcast I'm really honestly, we could debate this and we're definitely probably missing someone, but like I would say Larry King, his first appearance on the Breakfast Club
for sure. Brilliant Idiots.
Joe Rogan, Hot Ones. I think those four for sure. If we're doing top 5 like brand impact,
I would say like recency wise, like because more last couple, I think Dario's CEO was a really solid one from Gary. Like Steve Bartlett's just too. Like he's just so good.
Entrepreneurial's favorite entrepreneur, Steve Bartlett.
I think
Gary,
he did
the editing. I've watched moments of it. I didn't watch the full episode. Sorry, Gary, but I remember that trailer. Steve's trailers are like the cornerstone, and
that's what we do on this pod as well.
But
like,
Gary was crying. I think he's talking about his mom.
He talked about his mom, and like he's like, I think the question was like, what would you say to your mom? Like the last thing you would say to your mom, and he's like, you did it, and that's how he started crying. I would also say that in terms of like brand impact, like I would say like even Gary's conversation with like, I think Logic was really cool.
Logic really cool.
Ask GaryVee, like just that one, like the whole Rubik's Cube shit, like all that.
We leaked Logic's address on Daily V for a second. That was fun.
We've done so much.
Nipsey Hussle. Rest in peace. Yeah. Man, watching that podcast combo, I go back to it sometimes. Really profound. Such a loss to not have his mind and thoughts, Nipsey, in the world, but really, really cool combo between the two of them, for sure. I think those are my 5: Rogan, Nipsey, Larry King, Breakfast Club.
Zuck?
No. And then the last one was
Impact Theory.
No. Just from Larry King. In order, it goes Larry King, Breakfast Club,
Joe Rogan.
Hot Ones, Joe Rogan, and the last one that we just said was
Nipsey.
Yeah. That's chronological order of top 5 most brand impactful podcast appearances.
I think 5 is like the reason why I wanted to have you on this episode as well. Like I just wanted to make sure you get episode 5. Hopefully you get Gary on 55.
I'm not even fun. Like real talk, 5 is my favorite number.
Yeah.
5 was my favorite number in basketball since I was like in 2nd grade, 3rd grade.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's weird. It's fun.
This was meant to be, huh?
The universe is a mysterious thing. I'm sure we have some. What's going on with the alternate theory Instagram?
Oh, this is alternate theory now. this is alternate theory. This is where we talk about.
We're always good for a channel rebrand.
I think we're closer to everyone's an entrepreneur today than ever before.
Yeah,
you know,
this is a fun story. I was going to give context about how we got here, but I'll just dive right in. I think people would be shocked, impressed, and scared at how quickly Gary can pivot and change his mind on things. I just made a joke like we're always good for a channel rebrand strategy, because if you've worked around Gary for long enough, you know that we're producing a lot of content with different subject matters. I mean, just think about the top 5 podcasts that I just outlined. One could debate that Nipsey Hussle podcast, and I still honestly believe this to be true, Gary had so many hip-hop combos.
Yeah.
And not just hip-hop, but like artist related, like musicians talking shop with GaryVee, which is a very like specific type of demographic and interest. Different so than like his marketing keynote at Orlando, you know?
Yeah.
We could have made a whole channel of just like hip-hop combos with GaryVee.
Yep.
But anyways, we have a lot of handles and channels, and we're always like brainstorming, trying to outline the best strategy to attack it. And one time we had like, when you have a really good Team GaryVee meeting with Gary, like all staff, all hands, you did a good job, I did a good job, Seth did a good job. Everyone was like on their P's and Q's of like planning and really planning to just set Gary up to make the plan. Because you're going to have a plan, but then he's actually going to make the plan. So you're just trying to set him up to give you why he's one of the greatest entrepreneurs I'll ever be around, to like, you know, get that gold out of him. We had one of those meetings and it was so good. And one of the things that came out of that meeting was really talking about his podcast strategy. Like, I want to lean in more. I'm really going to do a podcast. I'm going to commit the time. And we rightfully so are surfacing some concerns we have. One of which were like, hey, G, like ask GaryVee, man, like it needs 45 minutes. Sometimes the hour gets to 45. The time is too crunched. You're trying to do origin story. Then you ask 2 questions. So like it's too short. You got to get more time. And Mr. Serial Entrepreneur, greatest motivational speaker of all time, like they are your guests on your show. And we've seen a lot of comments, said click next slide, of people being upset that you interrupt them. And then he's like, I'm aware. I've seen him, you know, which he has. I believe Gary's read more comments on the internet than anybody. That might be a wild thing to say because there's definitely a lot of comment reading these days, but he really does it. And he does it as strategy and insights. But he's like, I'm seeing him. And he had a really smart, I thought, idea. And he was like, he was going to take it to his advantage. And he was going to, he's like, I got the idea. Interrupted by GaryVee. And we're like, and we all liked it. We're like, interrupted by GaryVee.
I have a whole slide on this, by the way, on like GVX, if you remember, we did that in 2020.
We were going to own it, man. And by own it, I mean, this meeting happened 7 p.m. on a Thursday, December 19th kind of thing. Like we were about to shut down for the year.
2019, yeah.
Yeah. And, but we kick up January. We got, you know, brand deck, YouTube channel, logo, interrupted by GaryVee, and
we do episode 1.
We did. I didn't even know if we did episode 1.
We did episode 1. I think someone was telling me they know exactly who did episode 1 as well.
And I think it was a combination of like Uninterrupted had just launched, which was like LeBron, and then podcast, and then Gary was just like, "This is a stupid fucking name."
So we did one episode.
Like, I'm not interrupted by Gary. Who came up with this? Sid? Like, we're going back to Ask GaryVee. You know, and you have to be so humble and appreciative, and you just like, you're like, all right.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and you could always roll with the punches, and like, God bless the creatives that worked on this team, because man, did they put in the hours and the work and the efforts and like the humility again. Like, think about it, designer, they just got so excited. We come out and be like, yo, interrupted by Gary, like we're getting hyped on it. We're trying to do mood boards, just like get excited about the new brand look and feel, and then bam, back to Ask GaryVee. And it happens all the time.
Yeah.
But again, it's a strength.
Yeah.
It's a real strength to have the humility and confidence to be able to communicate something entirely different than you just said, because you have more confidence in that. It would be stupid if you didn't do that, you know. But I think so many people are weighed down by all the things you could think of, other people's opinions, feeling like they need to just keep on to it for whatever reason. And Gary definitely does not have that.
I think this is funny that we've come to this point, because I remember Ask GaryVee 130. It was like the Interns episode. I was on it. My question to Gary on that was literally this. I was like, how do you know? I've seen you navigate. And this was me 10 weeks in. So like, I'm like back to like how much I was observing and just learning and capturing. Is like, how do you know when to like go all in? And you're so good to like pivot immediately. And this is someone who's worked with him for 10 weeks, out of which, you know, it's probably 2 weeks of
this is like
him.
summer intern, summer vibe.
Yeah, like I've just like seen him for like probably 2 weeks in office, because he's traveling and he's doing stuff. And I could see in those 2 weeks itself, just him operating, that he was so all in, and then also immediately like, let's just change our mind, because like this didn't work. Like, let's just pivot right there.
It's so fascinating, man.
And it's still the same, and he's
still the same.
He's still got ideas, and he's still following his gut. And
they talked about it in, I could share so much about G, but they, I was able to put it into words and like understand that this is a real thing after I read the Steve Jobs book and by Walter Isaacson, his biography. And I'm pretty sure the terminology they use is like reality distortion field, where like if you're in a meeting with Steve, he could convince you that you're gonna be able to fly. Like, no, I said, like, you're going to walk out of here, you're going to grow angel wings, and I promise you, you're going to be able to, and like, you're like, bet. Yeah, we're going to do that. And then they would leave the meeting, and then like, of course, like the reality distortion field goes back to reality, and you're like, wait a minute, in order to grow wings, like, I need fucking magic, and I need all these other things. And with Gary, all the time, not all the time, but like very often, in the best way, we'll be in meetings and like you just get so energized and focused, and you're like, holy shit, like all the constraints that I was just thinking existed and was blocking me down do not exist. And not only do they not exist, there's an abundance of opportunity and potential. And then you go back out there and you're like, oh shit. But he gets you to a place where you can start frameworking and workshopping it to then come back and be like, yes, that's right. That's what I said. Like, do that.
Yeah. I think he's also really good with like making you feel good about failing. Like, you know, you go out there, figure it out, doesn't work, cool, we'll figure it out. But like, I think people that have worked closely with him, for people more than us as well, like many, many years, they know that one thing about Gary is like, it's not about the end result. It's always about how you're approaching it and tweaking it and like working with him closely on it and like figuring it out. I think a lot of people don't make impact in life or like don't do great things because they're scared of the failure.
Yeah.
And you can see people rolling, like even on our, like people that we worked with on our teams, right?
Yeah.
Like you see people trying to avoid failure, and those are the ones that are moving either the slowest or not making making the least impact.
Yeah.
And I think Gary's so good with that, like almost like day one saying like, you are the best, you'll figure it out, and then backing you to do it till the time like, yes, he'll razz you when you don't figure it out, but like also making sure that he's always pushing you in that direction where like, it's like, you got this, you got this.
Yeah.
And I think that's very unique to his leadership style.
Couldn't agree more. I think launching VFriends, and it might be the single greatest thing I've learned from Gary, and it was through launching VFriends, although I've learned so much, was his capacity to be fearless. Like to do what he did when we were launching VFriends and to have the amount of conviction, it required so much confidence and rather just lack of fear. Like, I don't care if I lose, I'm going to try. I'm going to try for it. The cliche, like, it's better to try than not to try. He like embodied that in every way, in a way that I can never comprehend. And on the flip side, like, very few leaders, I think, have the ability to try to eliminate fear in their employees. And he definitely does it.
And also, like, I think a lot of it is also like his lack of attachment to like the financial piece of it, you know, like I don't think people really understand that don't know him well.
Yeah.
But like he doesn't care about the financial results of things.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously you care about it because you have a company and you have to run it and all of that. But the obsession with being the best at what we do rather than the one that makes the most money at what we do is so unique. Because he talks about it a lot of times. This is where like the publicly listed companies get hurt and all of that stuff. Like, it is so real. Like our early days of Gary's brand, like we didn't have any legal conversations. Like it's okay. We'll figure it out. You know, like. And meanwhile, most brands are talking about whether they can post something or not. We're just like going and we'll see. And that was probably the biggest I would say advantage our brand had was like just like being free. And
for sure.
Everyone still says it, like Gary's the best client. He's the yes client. Like everything's game. If I sit over here, I don't think I've ever pitched an idea for a creative to Gary and Gary said no. I can't think of one.
Yeah.
He'd be like, show me. Like his best version when he doesn't understand what it is, he's like, show me.
He loves a good show me.
Yeah, he loves a show me, but like he's never said like, no, I don't like that. Like he's not like, show me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you remember a moment? Did you have such a shitty idea?
I mean, I think he definitely has said like no to things, but never in a way where like I feel deflated.
But it's more like pivoting, right? Like like go do do it differently.
There's actually something big happening in VFriends that's going to be shared next month or so, and I had a completely different take on what we were going to do, and I kept.
Is it what you had shared with me?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I had a completely different take, and
I know your take,
and I had a lot of conviction about it. And
I liked it.
I kept on seeding it to him because this is a GaryVee strategy. Like when I'm trying to help him make decisions and help operate the company. Yep. Before we have the meeting, I'm trying to put in his head that this is the meeting that we're having and this is where I want you to be like thinking because he's doing so much. Like I need to try.
And this is like more like insight into like what you have to do in your role is. You have to make decisions so that people can bring together like one direction. Yeah. So you present it in front of Gary. So you have to somewhere make sure that Gary's aware how you're thinking about it. Yeah. So it's not like it's just like walking to a meeting. He's like, what is this?
I have another thing I wanted to share about him after this. But long story short, so I've been working on this thing that I'm very passionate about, and it is you could call it a creative idea. Content, creative, brand positioning. And he said no. But he opened up with, Andy, I've been thinking about this a lot, and this is important. I really want you to hear this. I've really been trying to get behind this, but I'm not going to. But like him just saying that with like the clear, direct communication and like just like pure, like it felt good for him to say that. There's other people in the room, like, and I think he's just like building me up a little bit, you know, like, and it felt like that enough made it okay that I spent all this time like trying to get there. And it's cool. And honestly, like, I'm probably happier that we didn't go with my idea after we played out the different strategies, which is why he's the CEO and I'm the president. I wanted to share this though, because it's so remarkable. Last week I had maybe like 5 hours of Gary meetings, which is a crazy amount of like.
It's a lot of time.
We could create a new country in that amount of time with him. I'm not kidding, man. There was like 2 or 3 times when he referenced a text message that he had gotten from someone that I was also on the text message with, and he knew like the specific data point number from that text message and was already ready to consolidate the meeting that was like a 30-minute meeting into 5 minutes because he had the context. Like he had the context of the meeting, he knew what we were feeling, and he was already ready to talk about like, this is what we're going to do. But then he did it again. And it was so remarkable for me because I'm like, damn, Andy, I was on those texts and I was even struggling remembering the data point. Not only did he know the data point, amongst the trillion other data points that he has to deal with that I don't, he had like a brilliant and articulate strategy for what to do with it. And it's like so remarkable about how you could maneuver and manage your life and your mental capacity to do that.
I was on the last episode with D. Kirk, and we were talking about Gary and like he was talking about how like Gary's so present that his sometimes can be intimidating.
Yeah.
And I was talking about how it is so fascinating that Gary can meet someone 5 years ago and still remember their name. And I was using this example from Fanatics Fest, and I said it in that one where like Gary had to do this new biz pitch. I needed a 2-minute video from him. He had to do it in the office, couldn't do it. Goes to Fanatics Fest. You know what's happening at Fanatics. He's running around. He's doing all this stuff. He's becoming a kid. He's like doing sports cards, running around with his family, all of that stuff, and then comes back to VFriends, sell. GaryVee mode, like talking to people, giving them love, all of that. Suddenly looks at me. He sees me standing there with Braden, and he's like, "Oh, I have to do this video for you." And he walks up in the middle of all of this craziness, immediately switches on his CEO hat, bangs out one take video to like set up a new biz pitch that we need to do, goes back to VFriends.
Yeah.
And to me, just back to your point, like how present Gary is in this, like right now, here, with the 17 million things happening in his world, how present and how important he can make the people in the room feel, and at the same time read the room and like change his demeanor, his tone, his energy, everything. It's just so unique.
Yeah.
And I think one of the times when I was really fascinated by it was VCon 1 2022. Shout out Minneapolis. He stood in selfie station lines for 5 hours straight after I knew what else he was doing in the back, and just D-Rock's dying, I'm dying, and like Andrew Mason's dying, Raghav, Norea, like the whole crew over there, we're like struggling to keep up with Gary.
And you aren't even the one shaking the hands and kissing the babies and like.
And he's like still going. And,
today I took a meeting with some legit people who are at VCon 1, and it happens all the time. It's one of my favorite things. Like, and when I say legit people, I'm just mean like public speakers, CEOs, executives, and often if they were at VCon, they'll be like, man, yeah, and Gary was in line for like 5 hours. Does he always do that? How does he do that? It's incredible. And I'm like, you have no idea.
Yeah.
How was the I wanted to shout out D. Kirk. I saw him today. I just was able to say hi for a second. How was the podcast with him?
It was good. It was good. We talked about how he's definitely still the most viral intern we've ever had.
Yeah. I forgot about that's why I brought it up. Rapping for a job at VaynerMedia. I remember calling him when that happened. He swung me at bat, man.
And you know, he impacted a lot of BSUs. He talked about how
I tried to recruit him.
The first thing that he heard from you was, make 100 BSUs. And he was like, this place is different. That was like the first moment where he was like, wait, what am I doing here?
Yeah, I gotta chill. I
yeah.
remember my first assignment for her was to do have her subtitle the whole USC keynote.
Yeah,
which is like an hour long, cussing all these things.
And this is like May was not an employee.
No,
she just like hit you up.
I gave her the hardest assignment off back. I'm like, I could ease people a little bit, like make a one quote card, Dwayne, and like show it to Sid after. Yeah, that's funny.
That's What do you think is the best part about working with Gary? And not like for people, like a lot of people work with him.
Yeah.
But like the guy that runs his brand.
It's interesting with that context because I don't know if there's a difference, but a couple things. I would say like the trust that he puts in you. You know, that's like it's like a battery pack in your back. Like to have the dude who we just said all those amazing things about to believe and trust in you. You know, like that. If that doesn't motivate you, I don't know what will. And he really does lead with trust. And so much hard work, and there's a lot that comes with it. But like honestly, just the lack of bullshit. Like that's why I tweeted him in 2013 to ask to work for free, because I was watching his business videos talking about social media is going to change the world and it's going to change how we communicate and it's going to change how we market. And I'm like, damn, I haven't really heard anyone explain it so simply and as a matter of fact and in a relevant way. I'm like, this dude knows what he's doing. But also he was like wearing Nikes and cussing and seemed like a regular Joe that like I could get behind, and he's not going to bullshit me. And I just think people call VaynerMedia cold and all these things, which I think is sort of true. And I think it's a good thing. And I think it's a good thing because there's a certain level of respect for lack of bullshit. And by lack of bullshit, I mean people that have bad intent, are negative, are just jerks. And that won't play out. And it doesn't play out. And Gary will be the first one to let you know how that story goes. And that's what I would say. And that's why I'm still here today working for him.
I literally got a text today. Like I hit someone else. I hit someone up today asking them to be on the pod. And this is their text to me. Says, and they've been at Vayner for like 3-4 years, then left. And then I was just hitting them up to be on the pod. And they were like,
I love how you said just be on the pod, man. Yeah. Come on the pod.
We're on the pod. And trying to paraphrase a little bit, but like words were, the world's not the same out there. It's so good at Vayner.
Yeah.
That it was the biggest mistake to leave Vayner.
Yeah.
And to me, like, so many people say that.
Yeah.
And I've seen so many people want to come back. So many people try to come back to Team Gary. So many people try to come back to Vayner. And it's just, I don't think it is understood that easily while you're here in again, the comfort zone conversation.
Yeah.
That the real world is different.
Yeah.
You know, like, this is something I was actually talking to I'm not going to take names. I'm trying to be very careful with like taking names because, you know, people work in places. I was talking to an intern who was also an intern.
We love a good intern, by the way.
Yeah.
I was an intern. Sid was an intern. You know, VeeFriends, we have 3 high school interns now. And they're my fucking favorite people at the company.
That's so cool.
Sorry.
Yeah, the best intent, right? Like just
best
like
intent. And I just
like,
I just think people undersell how much potential and value someone junior and young and curious but hardworking can provide, because that was me and that was you. And like it's twofold. Like they can actually help the business, but you can also really impact their lives. Like I want nothing else for like interns at VaynerX or people that intern with me to like either continue to work with us forever or take the talents and skills and acumen and communication style that we have and work at another company and be really successful. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I was just talking about like, I think that's a really important point, and that's exactly just the emotion that you expressed over there. Like, I think that person was also an intern here.
Yeah.
And I was just talking to them about how Gary would know their name.
Yeah.
But at another company that's equally this size, the CEO doesn't know your name.
Yeah.
You're an intern.
Yeah.
And I think that is taken for granted so much, especially on Team Gary as well somewhere. Like, because we have so much access to Gary that it's almost like we almost forget that we're in.
Like desensitized to
Yeah,
it.
you were desensitized to it. Like, because we're like constantly in touch with this human that's definitely 1%.
I've never asked you about how do you I know how I try to approach it mentally, but like how do you try to handle that? Like I know you're a very respectful person, but always like talking to Gary all the time. He's asking you for updates and stuff. How do you balance like being desensitized and just working with him and treating him? He's almost like an older brother and dad more than he is your boss, right?
Yeah.
But like, how do you think about that in comparison to like, he's the chairman of VaynerX and has 10 million followers and like treating him with a certain level of like, yes, sir, and respect.
So I think I come from a culture where I'm just like, I'm always going to be respectful. Like it's actually a conversation I was having with someone else, and this, I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
Is when I told them that I'm going to do the episode with you in this conference room, in this Gary's office, they said, that's so interesting that you asked Gary that even after 10 years of working on his brand, you didn't feel like you were entitled to this.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's just the way I was brought up, you know, like you always have.
It's so funny you said that, man.
It's like so important.
It's why I asked the question. I'm so happy. When we texted, you told me this, that like we're going to be here, and Gary said it was okay. And I had the same reaction of like, man, it's such a respectful dude. Like he would actually, because you very easily, like, you know, Gary's not in town.
And he wouldn't
care.
He would be pumped that we're doing
Yeah.
that.
And honestly, I don't even know. This is what I would say. I don't know if you asking him and him being like, oh, that was like respectful of Sid and I appreciate that. I don't know if he felt that. And I might assume like, no, he's like busy. But I know for sure there's been other instances when you did do something like that and Gary was like, Sid's a really respectful, good dude. Yeah. For sure.
First time I'm hearing that, so I'm not sure if like a lot of people feel that way, but I can say this, that you know me better than a lot of people.
No, it's
you
about
and I are
the
very
whole
similar people as well.
It's about intent, and I think there's a certain way you do things. There's a certain way
how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah, a certain way you greet people, a certain way you say bye to people, a certain way you try to host a meeting, a certain way you talk to your boss, certain way like if you have to let go of an employee or you have to get feedback, like you try to approach it with the right mindset, and like it's all the cliche things, but some of those things are hard to do.
I had a partner of an ex-Team Gary person reach out to me recently because they were about to let go of someone, and they were like really not happy about being in that situation, having to let go of someone and stuff like that, and like it was happening in 15 minutes. I was in a Team Gary meeting. I had to like leave the meeting because like I got the text and I knew that the first time you do go through that process, you know how difficult it is. And I sat with her and I explained to her that when you're doing it, it's more about the person and less about what's happened.
Yeah.
Like make sure that the person understands that you're there for them.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's so Vayner. Like I think, and when I say Vayner, it's Gary, is like humans are more important than the work we do every day.
Yeah.
And I've seen so many occasions where something that will not make business sense will always be done because it makes human sense.
Yeah.
And to me, like even being gracious and having those conversations when you're even letting go of someone is so different than what an average person would go through. And I think that also shows you a lot about a company and the CEO of that company. And I think just the alumni network, I talk about this a lot. Like, I don't think every company has that. Like,
No.
it's like,
No.
and I am every day on emails where it's being activated
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
Someone's being sent opportunity. Someone's name being shared with people's. It's a consistent well-being of humans conversation rather than business decisions, which is very unique.
Yeah. It was always one of my favorite t-shirt designs back in the day. I think Zach Moy made it. I believe the quote, it says invest in people, and it's a figure of like a human face, but it's made out of like leaves and vines, but it's almost like money leaves and vines. It was just like a really, really cool design. And I think at the time Gary was talking about AI is not going to take over, like people are the business. And now that AI is coming, he's like, Andy, you're fired. I'm kidding, but it's still true. Like, I've learned it from him, and as I've grown in my like operational career and trying to staff and organize groups of people against tasks, like it's all people. It's just the people. It's just about how they work, how you can work with them. And it's a fun game. It's a fun puzzle game, you know, trying to communicate and be candorous with the groups of people that you have around you and try to achieve the same goal.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, a team's the only thing that can achieve big things. Like, no individual can do it.
Yeah.
Even Gary needs a team.
Well, and Gary, unlike most people, again, I've ever met, like, he is so ready to have the big ass team.
Yeah.
Big ass company, because he believes in scale, and he just really likes people. Like, even if we could do it with 2 people, he might just want 3 so that he could have the extra energy. Like, he just loves
people.
being around people. And it's why, like, our team at the height when I was there, maybe 30 people. So many personalities, you know, and I was definitely overwhelmed.
2019, right?
Yeah, like trying to just figure out how to do it. And Gary's like, it's fine. I'd be worried, like, Andy, you're not doing that. I'm leading the team. Like, it's all like, you know, but it's cool. It's a cool experience for sure.
Yeah, I think during my time, I think the largest we've been is like 44.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, this is just one person's brand.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, we do a lot of stuff for like Wine Library and stuff like that, but like it's still just GaryVee's team.
Well, that's the other thing. Gary just generally loves people and energy, but also he's not afraid. There's so many talented authors, orators, musicians, performers that are scared to death of having 2 people with access to their accounts.
Yeah.
Like, so afraid. I'm like, that's the only thing that you need to try to unlock to, like.
But also, I would say that, Andy, you earned it. You know, like you it's like not something he would give to anyone. Yeah. I think he saw what he saw in you and he gave it to you, and that's like different.
But I'll say 2 things. Yes, comma. I'll say 3 things. Yes, comma. He still was open, whether or not, yes, I earned his trust, but he still had the idea of like, I'm going to give people around me at bats, and I want people out around me because that's how I'm going to grow.
Yeah. He was always very strongly authentic. Like, he knew that that's the version of him. There's no other version.
He really does trust a lot. And I don't know if he would do this today. I definitely don't think I know he wouldn't do it today just because of different scale and stuff, but true talk. So I tweeted him in summer 2013. He tweeted, "What can I do for you today?" Someone said, I'm hungry. He said, "What's your address?" And then like 20 minutes later, there's a photo of a cheeseburger outside his house. And I was like, holy shit, GaryVee's really responding to people. And actually my favorite piece of Gary content ever is a rant from the hip, head, and heart. He's solo, no team at this time, presses record on an airplane. He looks like Darth Vader, and he just rants unedited, raw, emotional, tapped into who he is, what he's about. I'm going to build the biggest fucking building in your business in your mouth, and I'm going to show you how to do all this stuff. And I'm like, it was at that moment in time I had applied to this product marketer job. I spent all this time on this application. I didn't get it. I made like this really cool video, all these things. And I asked him like, yo, I'm devastated. I didn't get it. Why didn't I get it? Like, I know that I would impact your business. And they're like, honestly, Andy, you just don't have the experience. They wanted like, it's like a director of ecom kind of thing, like someone who had managed Google. And I was just like fibbing. And he's like, but you just you should really just try to work for free and get the experience. And then if you get the experience, you'll be off to the races. Anyways, I watched this video from Gary. I'm like, I want to work for this dude. I don't know if I'm going to build this English learning app. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I want to build a business for myself one day. And he seems like someone I'm going to learn from. 2 days later, he tweets, what can I do for you today? And I see this, I'm like, now's my chance. I just respond to him, a chance to work for free. I have no idea. Like, right after I hit reply or tweet, he responds right away. And like, I start having a panic attack. He's like, I'm like, oh fuck, he responded. What do I say? He said, expand. I said, I just want a project, a chance to prove myself. He says, email me, Gary@VaynerMedia.com.
He probably got 700 emails because of that.
I'm like, oh shit, I got to write the best email of my life. Like, this might be it, you know? Because at the time, too, something that I do think I have a knack for, I can see where things are going. Like, you talked about Nipsey Hussle and hip hop. Like, I was early on a lot of artists. Russ, J. Cole, Post Malone, like when they had 10,000 fans. I believed with a lot of conviction that they were going to be superstars. And I always thought Gary was going to be a superstar. At this time, he was still like a wine guy, emerging social media marketer. But I thought he was going to be famous. You know, he's going to be a huge, famous entrepreneur for sure. And that's why I wanted to work for him. So anyways, I remember like my mom was really pressing me to get a job. I was unemployed at this time. And like, she's asking me how many jobs applications I submitted that day and all these things. I'm getting stressed and I'm like, I can't live with my mom anymore. And she comes home from work, like, so what's like, recap me on your day. I'm like, Mom, GaryVee responded to my tweet. I'm like, it's on. It's like the last thing in the world she wanted to hear, you know? And after a week of no response from Gary, I was like, well, that's it, you know? And I'd never thought to follow up or like checking in. I didn't do it. I just like, he read it, he saw it. He didn't like my email. He's like, this kid, what am I gonna do with a English teacher who knows me from Virginia Tech? So that was it. I was like, pipe dreams, but I was staying up to date with Gary. And then I could pull it up, but I won't. I still have the email at midnight. I was getting no emails at the time. Midnight in August, I get a notification on my phone. It says Gary Vaynerchuk, Gmail. I'm like, what? Click into it. He responds to my, like, at the time, of course, I didn't know how to write business emails. Definitely not emails to Gary. It was like probably 7 paragraphs, you know, long. It's basically a novel. And he just said, how little do you want to work for? Where are you willing to live? Shout out my brother, because otherwise I wouldn't be here today. Lived in New York. I never had any interest in New York City, but I knew Gary was in New York City, and my brother was there, and I could sleep with my brother. And so I just said, I want to work for free, and I want to live in New York. And he responded right away. He CC'd his assistant, Nate, and was like, Nate, I like this kid. I want him to intern for the book. I'm like, holy smokes, Nate! I'm not letting go. I emailed Nate like 13 times, and the next day, he's like, I'll be in touch in like a week or two. I'm gonna be with Gary. We're doing like an offsite to talk about his book, Jab, 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 Right Hook. And so I'm like, great. Nate calls me. We have like a 5-minute combo. How do you know Gary? How are you going to be able to live in New York? By the way, you can't work for free. We got to pay you minimum wage, $7.25.
Oh, it was a thing. Okay.
Yeah. Yudkin came in like, bro, you can't just like, you got to pay kids, you know? So I came in day one, came in a suit. Gary likes telling the story sometimes because it's funny. I literally came on a Sunday night, woke up Monday morning, suit, figured out how to take the train into Park Ave, go up to VaynerMedia. The whole office is wearing shorts and flip-flops. I feel like such a dweeb. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like shy, like so nervous, you know. And I'm just like, hi, my name is Andy. I'm here to see Gary, like, or Nate. I don't have a desk. They give me a little desk outside Gary's office.
Wait, you didn't have an interview? It's just like your day one of work straight
yeah,
away?
Nate, like literally.
That 5-minute call was the interview?
And this is why this is a long-winded story because I wanted to share a little bit of my intro to like getting the job and all these things. But so I sent the tweet, I sent the email, had a 5-minute convo, and I guess Amanda Katz was the head of HR. So she had given me some like fill out paperwork, you know, and like you make $7.25, report your time, whatever. But like I never really had an interview. I never felt like I had an interview, you know. Nate had like Gary had his intuition check off email and tweet. Nate had his intuition check off of a 5-minute convo. And there I was. I kid you not. Well, for like day one, Gary invited me in, make me feel so welcome. Like they're like keeping me at bay. And not in like a bad way. They're just like, okay, here, stay here, do this. We're going over there to like do Gary stuff. And like Gary came out and was like, Andy, come in. I'm like, holy shit. Like what? He was filming a video for Dr. Oz about how to like a fun way to get over a hangover because he's like the wine guy and it was about drinking pickle juice. I filmed the video. I held the camera. And I was like, oh, he's like real deal. Like really personable and like likes to be around people and down to earth. But probably a couple days later, maybe a week, they had seen that I was like smart and I was really going to work hard. And I started to respond to people on this book handle account, Jab, 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 Right Hook the Book, which is now the Team Gary Twitter account. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And Gary says he's impressed with it. Really impressed with like my CMing and copywriting, which I didn't think
Shout
of anything
English
at the time.
teacher.
Yeah. But then he looks at Nate and he's like, Nate, give Andy access to my inbox. I want to make sure that he can see what's going on in there. And maybe he'll like find some opportunities. And I like my jaw dropped to the floor because I'm like, literally, I'm like a kid off the street. Like they don't know. I'm like, I could be a psycho. You don't have any idea who I am. And you're someone I look up to, admire. I think the world of you. You're like this powerful business executive, growing serial entrepreneur, angel investor. And you just told your admin team to let me log into your Gmail account to like poke around and watch and, you know?
Yeah.
And like, so but what ended up happening, it made me, one, I don't even know if they did that. I don't even know if I actually got access to some.
Like
I think they were rightfully so. They were like, Gary, slow down. You know, like, we're not doing that. But I heard him say that too, like, and what did that make me do? Of like, holy shit, I'm about to go to work. Like, he trusts me like that. I have a real opportunity. Like, I was ready to like not sleep for the next 5 weeks and just like do it again. Like, what else is he gonna say that like I can do? And he just leads with such a place of trust, which allows you to like not operate in fear and be confident. Yeah.
I remember my early days with him as well. Like as an intern, this kid just like from Babson just picked up randomly. Yeah. Like I've never shared this story before, but like when I was offered the full-time job to move to New York, I don't have enough money to pay my rent.
Yeah.
Like you had to put a deposit. I don't have any money. So Gary actually gave me money to put down for my deposit so I could actually get an
That makes me so happy. I had no idea.
Yeah, I've never told this to anyone.
I'm the
no
least
one's ever known
surprised.
this. I don't even know if Gary remembers it, but
that's crazy too. Because at that moment, like you're literally just the company's 400 employees probably at that time.
350, I think, something like that.
To go out of the way and do that just because like he thought it was the right thing or he believed in you, obviously.
Something, and
he sees good in everybody.
He does. I think he.
Sometimes to a fault
where you and I have to deal with it.
Yeah.
But
it is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I think it does make you realize how much abundance there is. You know, like there is no there is no one who can take away from you if you're willing to give.
Yeah.
It's such a real powerful statement that he just lives, and
That's a powerful bar. There's nobody that can take away from you if you're ready to give.
because he's that way, you
Yeah.
know, like he's just, you know, it more than anyone else
Yeah.
around us is like, he's always seeing,
Yeah.
he's always got the positivity lens
Yeah.
on him.
It's
Like-
fun. Like now I channel that with my team all the time. I love it. I love like fighting for the underdog and believing in them and
Yeah.
like seeing that they can really win and bring value. But I shared that story about trust. Like the story about Gary giving me access to his inbox when like I was just an intern a week in is about trust to me.
Yeah.
And I was trying to share with someone that I'm trying to coach and mentor a little bit of like, if Gary can do that, you can definitely trust this person.
100%.
And you don't have to be if the outcome is like failure and it doesn't go right, that's okay. That's growth. You know, and like I think it resonated with him a little bit.
It's cool. I had so many questions that I wanted to go through, but I think this podcast is flowing in the right way.
Yeah.
I want to spend some time giving some shout outs to people. I think why this episode is like fun for me and why we're doing it in this room is like, I think subjectively to me, I don't think there's anyone on this brand that's brought more impact than the two of us.
Yeah.
In different ways. In Gary's world, like there are many ways that you can bring impact.
Yeah.
But like to his brand, I think the two people that have led his brand and have worked with the 300 people that I'm talking about, I do believe that it's incomplete without giving a few shout outs.
Of course.
And if I were to ask you, who's the first person you want to shout out for like the most impact they brought to this brand? And again, I know it's like, it's never going to be in order and it's never going to be the right
No. I'm excited. We're going to shout out everybody.
Yeah.
But I got to shout out David, D-Rock. Similar to you said, and Seth, who's helping here record, anyone who's worked on this team, we have like just this camaraderie. Like I think when you go out into the real world, or even while you walk the halls of Vayner, you think about life differently. Like after soaking up Gary's content and messages so much and trying to like you have a shared experience that you only have with so many people, which is magical. But D-Rock and you and I have that sit at the highest level for me, like the two of you, because you guys, we have that shared vision, but you guys know me very, very well. You've seen the best of me, the worst of me, you know what to expect out of me. And both of you always, honestly, like really, really encourage me and motivate me and give me compliments, which means a lot to me. But David was a meaningful counterpart. I was strategy and he was creative, and we did the dance, and he's well known on the internet as the videographer for GaryVee, and I'm really proud of him. And so I would give shout out to D-Rock. I'll give maybe even more talented than D-Rock is Tyler Babin. I'm kidding. D-Rock would get mad that like Gary would create this competition. That was like a joke about that. Babin and D-Rock, honestly, it's interesting. Both, they're equally talented and so talented and so creative in different ways.
Different ways, yeah.
Like a Babin edit is so different than a D-Rock edit. And they're both fly and dope and special, you know? And then just like shout out the whole effing videographer crew and team that we had. It was such a grind for all of them. Justin Delfrays, Iris.
He's actually with Gary right now.
I know. Fun fact, this is a funny thing. Gary missed an hour meeting today. We had like 3 blocks. And I just felt bad. One, it rarely happens, you know, that he misses meetings. But the rationale, he was on I guess he did like a podcast interview before.
Yeah.
And he's like, again, this is like from Gary. Gary took the time to text me and a few other people, team, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I missed. This is from Gary apologizing. I'm like, bro, you don't got to apologize to me. Like, but he's saying, I'm so sorry. I'm with a new videographer and he forgot he didn't know that he had to tell me that we were like time was up.
Okay.
And then I feel bad that I'm like, and I felt bad for the videographer because I'm like, right, he doesn't know that he has to be videographer and assistant, travel coordinator. Yep. So like Dustin Lee, who moved on, I'm pumped for him. I was dropping random names, Daviel, Caleb. I'm so pumped with Caleb and the content that he's been putting out. That's been fun to see.
Iris.
I
was talking to her today.
How's she doing?
She's doing well.
She's day trading. I love that. Iris is a beast. She's a really good storyteller. Yeah, man. I remember when we were hiring videographers, and it was like right when I was I was well past my bandwidth of like trying to figure out how to manage this growing content team, specifically the videographer team. And we wanted to bring on Iris and like another person. And I'm like telling Gary, I'm worried. Like, bro, I don't know how to do this. Like, he's like, sorry, Andy. Like, I'll manage them. we got it. Just put me on a text chain with them. We don't got to worry about anything else. But yeah, just like videographer, they have the Zen Wizard. Shout out the Zen Wizard. I feel embarrassed and I'm ashamed to say Zen Wizard. I can't even remember.
Kyle Mogd.
Kyle. When we talk about you fondly and I see your content, but when we talk about like bring out memories of like you wearing the elf costume or just being like so go lucky and happy and positive and energetic and healthy, we would just say he's a Zen Wizard, baby.
He's a Zen Wizard.
Kyle Mogd.
Elliot.
Elliot's another one who's like, he was my roommate. I consider him one of my best friends. As talented as an individual that I think I'll ever work with.
I would say he was one of those people that probably impacted Gary's brand a lot in a very short period of time.
Yeah, it can't be understated.
I think there's a lot of people that probably stayed on the team for a very long time or longer than Elliot, but like I think what he did in a short period of time was like really impactful.
Yeah. There's moments in time when you just know with Gary, like you're either in it or you're not. And by that, I mean, when I say in it, I mean like you're winning.
Yeah.
Like the content is working.
Yeah.
You're growing. You're seeing like, you just know the strategy is there.
Yeah.
And then when it's not, you're like not floundering, but like you're just like trying to get it together so that you can be in there. When we had Elliot, like the growth and strategy that we had on Instagram was like, well, I don't know if his brand will ever experience that ever again. Hundreds of thousands of followers and fans and views every day, really in partnership with you and me and a lot of the other team. But Elliot was like a cornerstone with Gary of like cracking the code a little bit.
He knew what he was doing. And that's the thing. Like, I think a lot of times it is understated how much brains and smarts there is on Team Gary as well. Like, and this is something I was talking to, I don't know who it was, but like it was on one of these episodes. It's like every generation thinks their generation's the best. But like
so funny.
You know, I've been through like 7 or 8 generations now through this team, and like I would say every generation just elevated what the next one needed to do as like the baseline, and it just like changed everything. Like
I was about to competitive like no fucking generation was harder or better or like stronger than ours, which I agree with, but like it's not true. It's just it's
a different world. Like this is what I was talking about in the first episode 0 is like where I was trying to explain like the only distribution was YouTube long form and Facebook, and then an image would go on Instagram. That was social media in 2015.
Yeah.
Now Instagram has 17 placements and TikTok has 4 placements and YouTube has community tab and like like every platform is everything now that you can't be not great at any platform anymore.
Yeah.
So earlier there was a time when you were leading the team, like Instagram was it. Like if we were winning on Instagram, we were winning. Or it was Facebook was it. If we were winning on Facebook, it was it. Now it's like You got to win LinkedIn. You got to win Facebook. You got to win YouTube. You got to win Instagram. You got to win TikTok. It's not that one platform saving the other platforms for not being great. And like that's the level at which we're at. And it's just like right now our focus is like how do we reinvigorate the podcast? Like, how do we like bring back more impact on that? So Gary's about to do some cool things. I'll do some more.
I think one thing that I agree with you. It's so interesting. I don't think anybody has any idea how close Gary is to his brand or his companies. And by close, I mean like micromanaging small decisions, heavily involved, which then at sometimes you'd be like, I'm not that special. Sid's not that special. Like we're just cogs in the wheel. You know, Gary sometimes will remind us that like he is a magic, which is true. Like I'll take that at face value at times, but I also think like Team Gary has had such a unique level of strategists, creatives, and honestly, hustlers and people that just care. Like people that care, like Colin Campbell, shout out Colin Campbell, blog writer, like he fucking cared. Like he really wanted to do good work.
Yeah.
You know, and with a team of 30, he was always balancing like making sure the other people around him wanted to do the same quality of work. Like I always really enjoyed working with Seth, who's here helping to record the podcast. Like the consistency of just trying to like, and we talked about change, like the adaptation while also needing to be consistent is really difficult. And I think Seth always like just felt fucking a reliable person, you know,
he's also like the only person in the history of Team Gary that's actually worked on Team Gary twice. Because he left, went to Vayner Talent, came back. You know, there's no one ever that has ever come back to Team Gary. There's a lot of people who wanted to come back, but there's only one that ever came back and also excelled. And that speaks a lot to your adaptability. And again, I think to what Andy was saying, like, it's just like, you're always there, you know, like, I think even for this, like, I didn't have to like even consider like asking you. I was almost telling you that you need to do this, but like I knew that you do that. And also like on Friday when I asked you to like step in and help me with the wine library thing and things, I think anyone at this company will probably vouch for the fact that you're always there when needed and like that, and with a smile, which is like the biggest part of it. And it comes back to what D. Kirk as well said. I'm quoting a lot of D. Kirk in this episode, by the way. He said, Team Gary's the best because it's so low maintenance. You have relationships with people that you don't talk to for 6 years and you can still sit in a room with them and still feel that way. That's the kind of bonding you build on the team. And it's, to me, that was such a fulfilling thing to hear from him because like that's why it's the best team in the world. Yeah. I think we all bond and work together and do different things. And yes, people will have great days and bad days, and some will have good experiences, some will have bad experiences, all of that. But like, I think majority of us like just will be ready to hang with each other tomorrow.
For sure.
And that
I think we might be. No, that's Thursday.
We are day after.
Jim Thompson was awesome.
He's gonna be on. He's gonna be on in a couple of episodes.
That's gonna be a great episode. Viewers, subscribers, I'm not even gonna say anything. You'll see why I think so highly of Jim Thompson when he's on.
I think he's also one of those people that probably stayed on the team for a short time, but completely changed the way that our team functioned and interacted and things like that. Like,
he had a real impact for me on how I think about trying to lead teams and stuff, which was really great. Shout out John Rader. He held the front on Instagram for a long time. Shout out Jake. Shout out Jake Levy.
Jake Levy.
The meme lord. He was always cooking. Chris Slavin, now at V Friends, who's doing, I'm so proud and pumped for him. He's getting married this coming month.
Yeah.
Shout out Chris. Another amazing human, Caesar, who I saw at VCon for a long time, who I put on a freelance project.
Gary.
Is he?
He's still on Team Gary. And I'm trying to get him on one of the episodes when he comes for Chris's wedding.
I fucking love Caesar, man. I could talk. He's like the nicest dude, man. Just so nice. And like he went to war trying to make content with me. I'm like, I remember there's like this long quote about like fuck your professor, like fuck Uncle Tom, fuck this. Like it's a long blue poster quote graphic. I can find it. And him and I just had the passion where like Gary wanted content on like this Saturday at like 9 a.m. and I'm like, "Sees, let's go to work." And we spent like 5 hours, and I'm going back like, "No, you got to make it." It's such a long quote, but like he was so compassionate and like hardworking and talented.
I think there's no one kinder than him that I've ever met in my life.
Agree.
Like I think he's just like he's the nicest person that you can work with, I would say. And creative. And a beast, and the main creative behind Lil V with Avatar and Chris Slavin. It's a fun
Sinan. Now cooking with Mr. Beast. The Turkish assassin.
Yo,
he's like a brother to me. Also, just like
the most fascinating experience with Sinan. Like Sinan's amazing because like he's just like so disciplined, and like smart and capable and hardworking. But I remember once we went for this team bowling event, all of us, and he had 8 strikes in a row.
No.
8 strikes in a row.
I think I remember.
And if I just said, and I can bet this, that if I said
crazy.
there was this one person on our team that did 8 strikes in a row, I can tell you 90% of the people would know it was Sinan.
Yeah.
And that's just like who he is.
Yeah. He's killing it. I'm so proud of him. He's such a he had a real good run at V-Friends too. Basically, I couldn't take Sid because he needed to take my former job. But anyone else that was like cooking and still around, I definitely to talk to about joining forces with the next great emerging IP known as V-Friends.
Yeah, I think that was challenging times for sure for me because like all the A players.
I'm like, man, you got to come over here. Ragav, what are you up to? Chris,
that was I think that was probably the most interesting time for me. Like this first 2-3 months of leading the team, like figuring out how to keep the morale high and like still have a team. Because again, if you remember, like if we'd done the agency side, so I already had a team that was like reporting into me kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
So like,
remember the pirate ship video?
Yeah.
We did this whole pirate ship of like we're taking over Team Gary,
which is I thought it was really tough in March when we needed to like really pivot, but it was fun.
You did a great job. I was when it started happening, I'm like, all right, Sid. Because I don't want to say I was like fearful, but like I had enough working out for me, and I equally knew that you wanted it and knew that it was a challenge, and like you just were like, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I think I wasn't aware how complicated it was gonna be, and sometimes that's good. And I just went for it. And I think,
can be a strength. Yeah,
we figured it out. You know, and as Gary's always there, like backing and like figuring things out. So like it was always easy. I want to shout out a few more people, like May for sure. I think as much as I think you and I have had impact on the team for so long, I think May's equally been here for that long and impacted things even more.
Yeah.
Beyond even just Gary's brand, I think whenever I think about her, like to me, it's like she's like the heart of the world around Gary. Like she is. When you think about May, it's like she's like the definition of hard work and honey in the same thing. It's very rare to have people who do that.
And I don't think people understand how much honey and how much hard work. It made me really happy. Gary was giving me a little bit of a hard time, probably rightfully so, and some other staff while we were at Fanatics Fest. Just trying to operate the floor, maximize the potential of the event, attendee flow, things of that nature. After he was like done talking to me about what needed to evolve, he looked at May, who throughout that event, and always, but throughout the event, was doing everything I had asked her to do and doing it at the highest 10 out of 10 score. smile.
At the May level.
Yeah, greeting everyone, saying hello to everyone, trying to make sales, trying to build community and connections, onboarding. And that's what I was feeling. And I was just like, man, I hope like Gary knows that at least May's like being consistent or whatever. Anyways, of course he did. He's like, give me his Andy talk. And then he looks at me, he's like, May, you're so fucking consistent. I love it. And that's right. She's just so consistent. And man, have I given her a lot to try to manage at VeeFriends. And it's been such a blessing to have an opportunity to have someone who's honey and consistent. I'm doing some like different staffing stuff at VeeFriends, specifically within the creative department, and I showed them slides of Honey Empire today. I was trying to get them motivated, and not motivated, but just inspired to build the creative department in a way that's going to be fun and inspiring. And I wanted them to brainstorm about Honey Empire, and most people hadn't heard it, which was interesting to me, but it was also a fun combo.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
got to bring that back.
Yeah, Honey Empire. Build the biggest fucking building in business and do it being a kind person.
And it's easy. Gary makes it look easy.
Gary makes it look easy. It's just most people don't. And it's become, because of him, I think it's become more accepted and popular.
Yeah. Making kindness cool.
Yeah, making kindness cool.
I want to give a few shout outs as well, because this is incomplete without me giving shout outs to Raghav.
Yes, I wanted to shout out.
He has been the rock to what I have as a leader and even as a Team Gary member been part of here. He is, again, a great definition of Honey Empire. Like, he will run through a wall for you. At the same time, he will take care of everyone that's working with him. Yeah. And he will deliver what you need. He's a winner as well. And just seeing his growth over the last 1 year, doing crazy things at Vayner has been so fulfilling.
Love that, man.
Another person I want to shout out is Norea.
Yes.
I think you've probably not had as much interaction with her.
We never worked together on the team. But any of my interactions, I'm like fucking obsessed with her, and I want her. I still have the dream of taking her to work.
No one's ever gonna get Norea.
She's so nice.
I probably get a text every day for Norea to move to a different team at Vayner. Yeah. But that's never happening because she is the number one person that I've had the privilege of working closely with over the last 3-4 years. Like, she has the foundation of everything that I've done over the last 4 years as a leader here, and she does it exactly very similar. And I don't want to do comparisons, and it's but for your it's very similar to how May rolls, like kindness and always like the best intent and like whatever Gary wants and things like that, but like also like consistent, reliable, always there.
I get that's the energy that I get is like reliable and smiling, and you're on Team Gary, which is the hardest working team in business, in the content business at least.
So those, I think it's impossible to like not shout them out. And like for me, like in the early gen, like I would want to shout out Alex Deason. His episode's gonna be released probably in a couple of days. But
big shout outs.
I gave him a lot of love on the pod. And to me, like I feel like
Stunwin.
So many people, Stunwin, employee number one, Team Gary. That's how we always call it. Like,
did you hear?
Now I'm just like,
shout out India.
Did
you hear? She wrote Gary an email recently. This is funny. I don't mean to air out. Yeah. I think Gary might have shared this. It's too late. I'll say it because it is funny. India reached out to Gary recently, and her email was like, "Hey Gary, it's India. Remember me?" And Gary's like, "Shut the fuck up, India." Like, what do you mean? Do I remember you? You know? But she probably like sort of meant it, like, because it's such a long time ago. We've grown all these things, but like also on the same time, like, of course, like
this is why this podcast is so cool for me, because like I feel like there's so many stories and the humans like, and this is what I said on my solo episode was like, everyone knows Andy as like the guy that runs VeeFriends. Yeah. But there's so much more to you, and like you know, like think that humanizing the world around Gary is what I'm trying to do with this, and I think there's no human that's impacted his world more than you. Yeah. And I think I can say that for Gary, like he would agree with that. And
I hope
but
so.
maybe he's gonna razz and say maybe second most or something like that. But like, you know,
He'd definitely razz.
yeah, he's not gonna give it to you that easily.
Andy? What are some other funny stories? I used to rely on Sid would rely. We would rely on each other. I'm pretty good at it. But there was a while, and now there's an Andy Navian. But there's a while where we would have GaryVee hieroglyphics when he's texting. But he's texting so fast, and he's not a great speller, and he's trying to communicate a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But like I literally would get like a do this right now kind of text, and it comes in like a wave of like 10 different messages, and you literally have no idea what it says.
Like, you kind of do, because now
you kind of
yeah. The reps.
Like I would like dissect the first part. I'd be like, what is this like? What does scrub bubbles mean? He's like, no, it's like look at the data. You're like, oh, okay. That was always fun. There's always like trying to decipher the text messages. Scrambles on like weekends on the WhatsApp thread for content. I was laughing with D-Rock the other day about like it was such a wild moment in time when Instagram was crushing. His brand was really growing. We were probably like 3 out of those 5 podcasts he had done already. And his conviction
17.
and momentum was just like more gas on the fire.
Yeah.
And our living nightmare was that like we were missing the clips. Like
Which
there's
is
so much.
By the way, for the record,
the missing clips
that's still happening. Like Gary probably texted us like a week
the
ago.
gold
Like,
mine
we're
of missing
clips.
clips, man. Like that was such a funny moment in time. Yo, someone else whose parents I was talking to that I'll shout out because he is the talented, most talented creatively of the 3 brothers. Jake, Ben Ruby. Jake Ben Ruby.
He actually put me on crypto. Like he was the guy who told me about crypto. That
doesn't surprise me at all. Shout out Jake Ben Ruby, video editor.
I actually found a photo of him, Matt Ligotti, and Nick Dio from 2015 sitting in a conference room with Gary.
Yeah.
Talking about brands. Like it was such an iconic photo.
Shout out Zach Dines, the drip creator. Really talented creator. And like I knew when he started joining Team Gary, it was going to be challenging. He was moving from San Diego. He liked the nice weather and he had a very specific style creative, but really nice dude. And he always worked really hard.
Yeah.
Nice guy, Zach.
Who do you think was the most talented person that you hired? Like the person that you believe that was just at another level all across.
It's like,
and it can't be one of those people that came through Gary's DMs or something. Like, you know, like, Andy, meet this person. Like you interviewed, found.
So I didn't hire Dunk.
You didn't? He was just like, he came into the fold and just started working.
He was
with
a
us?
high school kid in Sweden who was DMing Gary's Instagram account. Okay. And one day I got an email saying, like, we're hiring, literally all subject line. Team, meet Dunk. He lives in Sweden. He's in high school. We're hiring him. To like me and HR, you know. That's and I'm great. Like, what? But I'm like, so honestly, it's all Gary's credit. Like he was like, I want to hire this kid, like do that stuff. But like, I would like to give myself credit a little bit, and that like,
no, what Dunk doesn't count.
Yeah, but I just love that kid so much, and he's so talented. Sid doesn't count. Honestly, hires that I'm proud of. I'm really proud of Dustin because it was a unique hire because he was an Uber driver.
Yeah, his growth from how he came to the team to the day he left.
Yeah,
it just,
and I say that because no bullshit. That's what I saw in him. Like I saw someone that was going to be reliable and a good teammate, and would want to work here and grow, and exactly the kind of video editor that Gary needed. And I had made so many poor hires before then, where I was like, I can't hire this fucking Uber driver. Like I need, you know. But eventually, I interviewed him, and like 4 months later.
Yeah, he told me the story. Like he didn't hear from you for like 4 months, and then one day he was like, "Can you be?" Yeah. You hit him up and was like, "Can you be in next Monday?" Yeah. And then he was like, "Yeah, I'll be there."
Yeah,
that's cool.
He sticks out to me because I just really remember making the decision on him, and a lot of other people like Caleb and Babin, they sort of came in their own ways a little bit. Caleb was already, both those people were already at Vayner before they joined the team.
But yeah, Dustin's a good example because you like made the cult, like
May, like
May was gifted. We knew that May was always going to be awesome.
Yeah,
so
and I would give you as much credit.
You can't take any
honestly.
credit on that just for like.
Yeah.
Well, did she reach out to you or what, Gary?
She found Gary through a Lewis House podcast. It was like, this guy's interesting. And then she emailed, was like, hey, I know Chinese. You should do Chinese content. Trying to think of anyone else. D. Kirk, I'll take credit for maybe.
D. Kirk, yeah. The whole VaynerMedia can take credit for that because everyone saw that, you know?
Yeah. It's honestly humbling.
I think one of the people that I think was really talented and is still at Vayner was Tan. I think he was unique. He is unique, I would say. He's
shout out Tan.
Like
Han. He's putting out content. He's living out there in Portugal. I see you, Tan, getting fit.
Yeah.
He's another person whose energy and personality and demeanor is contagious. Like, he just is a really, really good energy. He only always says nice things to me. Like, he's been following, seeing what I'm doing, just trying to uplift, and he's really smart.
He's smart. I think he was the first version of someone who was creatively really good.
Yeah.
But also loved numbers.
Yeah.
But was also like hardworking.
Yeah.
I think to me that really stands out for me because I think you always had creators who were really good at what they did.
Yeah.
And were hardworking.
Yeah.
But hated to ever talk about data.
Yeah.
And you had people that were like really creative and loved data, but didn't have like the...
Yeah, Caleb comes into mind too in that regard. He was always curious.
Caleb was also at GMG, so like he already was in the building.
Tan, definitely. I forgot about that wave of like Carly, Abby, Tan. I was going more old school, but that I don't even know how much you know this, but I had a run during COVID too where I probably helped hire 30 creators for Vayner.
We were doing it with Matt Tolbert, you and I.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out Matt Tolbert because the
fruit challenge.
He really became good at like identifying.
Shout out Danny Scully.
Scully.
I really loved working with her.
Danny Scully. Now Michael Lowe's. He's really good at what he does as well.
Yeah, but I've been curious. I know some of them were short-lived and moved on, but there's definitely a batch that are still rocking and rolling at Vayner, which makes me happy.
I think for me, another person I want to shout out is Abby.
Yeah.
I think I really enjoyed her growth on the team. Like she went from this kid that joined the team to like when she left the team, she was one of the most important leaders on the team. And she was like to a point where I think one of my favorite moments is also creatively for Abby was like Abby made a film for Gary and Gary walked in, watched the film, was like, did D-Rock make this? And I was like, no, Abby made this. And that was like the moment where Gary like really gave a lot of love to Abby.
Yeah.
I think that was like a big moment and like just seeing her growth from like being one of the players on the team to like actually VCon 1 was where she really stepped up because
there's so much management that needed to happen
that she had to like manage while we were at the event. And that's where like she started really shining and like she's a really good leader and I think she has a really bright future in front of her. And in my generation, like my team, like I would say like the best, similar to Tan, like I see Tan as like one of the unique ones for sure. I would say Carly was one of those. Really good creative, good with data, really hardworking. Yeah. And I think that combination is
Carly. So part of the assignment, Gary had tasked Sid and I to basically hire 30, 40 creators, which is a lot. 30
It's probably 100.
Yeah.
We hired
40, I didn't want to go. I'm like downplaying it.
Yeah.
But again, he just trusts us. Like Sid and Andy know what to look for. They know what matters to me. And we came up with this concept of
a test.
As part of the application, you had to submit a content test. And the content test was you've been hired to work at a fruit company and build a social profile, post, and like we kept it kind of vague, but like build a social profile.
There's people that do one post and there's people that
go all out.
do like 25 different
Instagram,
posts.
TikTok, YouTube, like, and it was really interesting to see because honestly, someone might just build 3 posts. I didn't care about
how many.
It was just about the vision and like showcasing what you could bring. Abby, excuse me, not Abby, Carly, basically, like, besides from interviewing well and all those things, she was already hired. Her fucking TikTok went viral. We were on Watermelon and she took the Harry Styles, I think it's Harry Styles, watermelon sugar, like whatever that song is. Yeah, boom. Like her content test, 2 million views on the video. I'm like, damn.
Can't not hire her.
Yeah, like, so yeah, shout out Carly. And that whole
Carly and Mackenzie were
shout out Justin Novello.
Justin Novello.
Gary's brother-in-law. He's like, I love that dude so much. We didn't get the photo that we wanted to, but that's okay. Shout out Justin. He was helping a lot on that, but it was so fun and interesting. And I hit him up the other day. I just wanted to get the Google sheet of all those tests because it was so cool for me to just look
you
back
wanted to hire some of those people, right? Like you were like, where are these people now?
Like, it's a really cool barometer for creativity and showcasing talent. Yeah.
Cool.
Dope.
All right. So I think I didn't get through 90% of the questions that I had planned for.
That's all good.
I think we wanted to do a rapid fire, but we're not going to do that. We're just like, let's wrap it up. The way that I like to end this podcast is, and I know you're a big hip hop guy.
Yes.
So 2 parts.
Okay.
Especially for you, because usually it's just one. What's one advice you would give to people that are not looking for advice, but have for some reason reached this point in the podcast and are still listening?
Yeah. Shout out my mom and Sid's wife. Thank you. We love you so much.
For the 7 people that are still watching, or more like 5.
Like, comment, and subscribe too.
Share Bear.
Yep.
Share Bear is definitely going to be your...
I should bring the Share Bear. I have a Share Bear t-shirt. You know that? Long sleeve Share Bear t-shirt.
I know that.
Yeah.
You should. Yeah. I'm surprised we don't have a Share Bear.
We should run back the clip. There's a really good clip of GaryVee where like we had started to put the Share Bear and D-Rock would always be funny. Like, because Gary would want like... one time he wanted the Sonic auto branding that on every video. And we're like, bro, it's going to hurt performance. He's like, shut the fuck up. Yeah. Listen what I say. We're like, yes, sir. And other like, I want a big ticker at the bottom that says like, are you listening to the GaryVee audio experience? Things like that where like, it's not right. It's a little like it's not tasteful. Like things that we were romantic about. And the first version of that was he saw like a couple of videos that didn't have a Share Bear in it. And he like calls, I think the 3 of us in. And he's like, where's the Share Bear?
Where's the Share Bear?
How many times do I have to tell you? I want the Share Bear in every single video. In the beginning, in the middle, at the end. Share Bear. Yeah.
We had that with the text as well. Like once the text community was on, like I need my phone number everywhere kind of thing. I
think Sid, were you on the team when the podcast moved to daily?
Yeah.
Were you there when that had happened yet?
But the podcast started in 2015. I was there.
No. But, and I just remember this really well. Gary was on vacation. It was winter. And I was...
It was the Team Gary takes over my IG time. I still remember the clip that you want to win was my clip. I remember that. We all had our own clip. We wrote copy. We tagged our accounts. That stuff.
Yeah, he should run that back. I did the Larry King School Fails. Yeah. It was actually a really cool time. That video clip, School Fails Entrepreneurs, the video design. This is true. We could talk forever about this stuff.
This is what I like. I'm like, we can just keep doing this. We
but
probably need a part 2 to this. Maybe episode 55.
This was like really when we were starting to develop what became the GaryVee content model of have long form video content, edit it natively for the platform that it's being deployed on in the a creative way. And the creative, that's when we were like, oh, captions matter, titles matter, all this stuff.
Yeah, like remember that whole paid media test that I did of like with captions, without captions, and all of that. Like that we sent Gary a report and it was like captions on every video starting now.
Yeah.
Like we're not staying away
exactly. From that. It was Larry King video, and he was asking me like, what are you finding? Like, what's the clip that you think is going to go viral or hit or get a lot of views? And I'm like, the part about school. And he was like he didn't like it. He just had different perspective on what was going to work. But then not only did I like think that clip was going to work, I really took time to design that banner with the big F and like a cross out, and that shit crushed.
And then in 2019, Gary changed his perspective on that. So we made another clip where he's like, school's failing entrepreneurs every day. And then he changes like, he said, school failed me. Then he said, no, I failed school.
Yeah.
He said, school's good for some people.
Yeah.
It wasn't for me.
Man, it was so fun publishing this. I was obsessed with Facebook, everything.
Yeah. I think we should do another episode about all these like Facebook, cheese rank and hit me baby one more time, all of that. But
growth hacks,
because we're over 2 hours now at this point.
Seth got to eat. Seth got to see the kids.
I want to make sure that we get this in. Your favorite verse that hits, and then what's the one piece of advice that you give people on how you live life?
Favorite verse that hits, man, I could go all over the place. All over the place.
You got to choose one.
Yeah. I'm just going to go with the first one that comes to mind. It's a J. Cole mixtape. I think the song's called The Badness, featuring Omen. Believe in God like the sun up in the sky. Science can tell us how, but it can't tell us why. I've seen a baby cry, and seconds later she laughs. The beauty of life, the pain never lasts. The rain always pass. Some. Yeah.
What's your advice for anyone who's still listening? What do you think, what's the one thing in your life that you live life by? Like, what's the core?
There's only one thing, man. Know thyself. If you know yourself, you should be able to believe in yourself, and nothing else matters. And I think the world and them and they and everything else is confusing people out there. You were built strong. Whether you believe in God or nothing at all, regardless, when you came out of the womb and you were born a child, you were born strong, capable, and that is still within you, and you have it within you, and you can be that person, and you just need to know it and attack it. That's what I got. Episode 5
White Space.
of the White Space. Find yours.
I think one of the strong ones that I always believe in is something that hit for me like a few days ago was like someone said, even the most famous people, they probably get 1 day of RIP on Twitter. That's it. Then you're gone. Maybe once a year people might think about you.
Yeah.
That's it. Like if that's what you're scared of, to live the 90 years of your life, just put that into perspective. And that really changed it for me. I think that's for the famous people. That's like the 0.0001% of the world. It's not even for like...
You said it earlier too, but the good news for everyone too is like, I actually think it's a muscle.
Yeah.
Like it actually is a muscle where like, roll up to the girl at the bar, ask your boss for a raise, do these things and realize like you're going to have your lizard brain that's going to be like, oh shit, it's so scary. And then you do the thing and like, they're like, nah, but ask me again in a little bit. You're like, okay, like I didn't die. I didn't get punched. Nobody made fun of me. And then you can build the pattern, but nobody's going to take that step for you but yourself.
Thank you, Andy, for doing this. Thank you, Seth, for doing this. This is more brutal for you than for us. And
Seth is like, I fucking heard these dudes talk more than enough times about all this.
He knows most of this stuff, but there was some new stuff. And thank you for.
I'm excited to be on the show. I appreciate the kind words. I love you very much, Sid. I'm proud of you. I'm so happy you're doing this podcast too.
This is fun.
Yeah,
I'm actually enjoying these
on the pod.
Yeah, we got to do a part 2.
We will.
But we'll figure it out.